Good evening, guys, and yeah, we're on the way to the Goosander hide at Blashford Lakes this evening. A great reserve, and the reason we're here is for the sand martin. They've built this great concrete nest site at Blashford Lakes, and most years sand martins return. And what I thought I'd do this evening is I would do a beginner setup. I thought we'd have a challenge, and in the first half of this video, the first part of this video is going to be using the Sony A7II with the 200 to 600 millimeter f5.6 to 6.3, a beginner setup which retails probably under £3,000. So although I'd probably recommend stretching to the A7 III if you could to start with for bird photography. But anyway, yeah, we've moved on to bird photography because the macro subjects at this time of year are a bit fleeting and it is quite difficult. So we'll go back to some more macro later in the year with the A7 II. But for now, we're going to do some bird photography. And I thought, what better than to compare a beginner setup with the best setup you can possibly buy, probably at the moment. So we're going to pit what I can get with the A7 II against what I can get with the A1 and the 600mm f4, and we're going to do a repeat visit to the same location a few times this week. So I'm as interested as yourselves, really, I suppose. Well, at least I hope it's interesting. What I can get out of an 8-year-old camera compared to my ultra-modern, up-to-date Sony A1 at 50 megapixels. Just coming up to the hide now, so flip you around. Yeah, this is the hide of choice, the Goosander hide at Blashford Lakes, and indeed this is the only one that houses this concrete nest site for the sand martin. Amazing. So, just coming up now. The Goosander hide. Yeah, so here's what we've come for. This sandbank down here on the left. Well, it's an imitation sandbank, and this is where the sand martin nest every year. Okay guys, well, settings tonight. We're continuing of course with our back button focus. Don't forget to back button focus, most important on Camilla and I. And tonight it's really easy. Settings, we're going to be wide open at f6.3 on this lens, because we're going to go for, or it's going to be beyond 300 millimeters. We focus in on the bird, so it's definitely going to be f6.3 on the 200 to 600. And then, of course, we're setting auto ISO. So to get our exposure, that only leaves us one setting, and that is the shutter speed setting. And on this occasion we're trying to get the birds in flight at the moment, so we're at 1/4000th of a second, because these are small, very quick little birds. So yeah, 1/4000th of a second, and we'll see if that's quick enough. And we're zone focusing, and we're on 5 frames per second. Ooh, awesome. And yeah, the focus speed of, I don't know, probably a gnat. So that's why they eat so many. Anyway, yeah, this is the idea on Camilla and I. We're just following them around. And if I get one in focus, or a group of them in focus, I just let off a quick burst. So we've gone +2 on the compensation dial, just to try and increase the exposure on the bird. because it's a very dark bird. In fact, we're going to go to +3 because it's a very dark bird against a light sky at this angle I'm shooting at the moment. So we're trying to lock onto a bird and take it as it goes by. Oh, it's difficult. With the A7II, I'll make no bones about it. It is difficult. Anyway, yeah. Oh, we'll get something in a minute, honest. They twist and turn, these sunlights. They're good fun. And of course tonight, as usual on Camilla and I've cheated. I've used an advanced gimbal. I would normally hand hold at this sort of subject, but tonight I'm feeling a bit tired after work, so I'm just cheated. I've got £1,000 worth of gimbal set up as well, so yeah, I admit I have cheated tonight. But just imagine I'm hand holding, because I am pretty tired tonight. So yeah, get those little dots in focus, trying to get them bigger as they come into the frame. But it's very tricky, and the sun's almost directly behind them. Another tip is, of course, don't actually photograph into the sun. So yeah, try and avoid that. Could blind yourself if you're not wearing sunglasses, and even if you're wearing sunglasses, not advisable. Yeah, so the majority of people started with bird photography. I posed this question in my community chat tabs, so that's why we've moved on rapidly to bird photography with the A7II and the 200 to 600mm. I mean, I'd personally go for the A7III if you could stretch that to start with, and that's about £1,500, and then it takes the combination to about £3,000 for a good bird photography setup to start with. And a couple of things to watch with the 200 to 600 is the zoom ring. That can easily be knocked, and you've come down from 600mm, so try and avoid that. And the other thing is to use the focus limiter settings. I mean, this autofocus system on the A7II is really slow. I've limited the amount of focus distance on the lens to anything from 10 meters to infinity, because I'm not expecting to get a sand martin within 10 meters. So this is a useful setting on the lens here. Not every lens has that, but oh, they're coming in again, quick. It's a very good idea when you set out, particularly in beginner wildlife photography, is to set out for a vision of the sort of shot you're trying to create tonight. Well, at the moment I'm trying to get anything in flight with this combination. But yeah, the vision for tonight was to get anything in flight, and the second sort of vision was any nesting activity or anything around the nest. Some interaction between two birds, perhaps a pairing up couple sizing up a nest hole. As yet, they've just been flying in the air, and that's what it's like with the sand martin. They're constantly active. Indeed, they hardly ever perch, and so despite the fact there's some lovely resting spots for them, at the moment I think they're sort of showing off to each other, doing the high aerial manoeuvres. Still catching flies at a high level, but yeah, it is amazing what they get up to. So I'm just waiting for the sun to go down now, and hoping that they return to the nest site. So it used to be with wildlife photography that 90% of the shots were taken on some sort of support, and here we have a excellent gimbal set up. Check out Do You Need a Gimbal or Not, one of my videos. Yeah, you don't need a gimbal, but it does help. Support is key to photography, so you have to keep the camera steady. Yes, if a bird does have a pose for us, going into one of these prefabricated nest sites, and we'll drop the shutter speed to about 1/500th of a second, I should imagine. But yeah, so quick summing up, really, we limited the focus on the barrel of the lens to 10 metre to infinity, just to give us a better chance at auto-focusing in. We're autofocus continuous, back button focus, and yeah, oh, heron's just dropped in. Okay. Yeah, heron's decided to come fishing. I think when it sees me it'll soon be off. But yeah. Oh yeah, as expected. Yeah, as expected. As soon as it noticed there was somebody in the hide, it flew off. But yeah, awesome. So, quick snap of a heron. But yeah, so this is what it's like. So we're on, yeah, so we're trying to get some birds now that are perched against the wall, and we've got 1/500th of a second auto ice.